to a bikini wax. I said, Nikki, I hate to tell you, the TV would be cheaper.
Oh, man. That is some really, really, very, very funny.
Oh, thank you.
You are a natural up there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And it sounds like you're actually telling your
it's
life.
It's true. It is. True happenings. I couldn't go up there and not be able to just belt it out and, think about jokes that I made up. It's all stuff that really kind of, in some way or another in my life, were true.
Well,
so it's easier.
You're just telling what's happening.
I'm telling what's happening on a daily basis.
So if you're just joining us, we have Terry Palmer in our studio. She's a comedian, and she's hitting that's Broadway Comedy Club. You're all over the place. New York City, Governor's Comedy Club, where I met you. McGuire's Comedy Club out in Bohemia. I just did them on Friday. And how'd that go?
Oh, my God. This guy comes up to me. Now, I add on because I'm being coached by Steve Marshall.
Steve Marshall?
Yeah.
Wow.
He found me in Broadway Comedy Club. He's like, I got to meet you. You're so great.
Wow.
It's the best thing. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. Great coach. Really cares about me. He's like, you are such a natural. And, so like, that's like an instant high that you can't get on the street.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so he wants to get me up to like 15 minutes, 30 minutes of clean material. Clean is a little hard for me.
What made you want to be a comedian? How'd this happen?
I raised 4 kids pretty much by myself.
Okay.
And they're all out, successful. I have 2 grandbabies. I just had another beautiful little granddaughter. And they're married, and my older daughter, my youngest daughter, actually, she's going to be 22. She went away to college.
Right.
And I'm sitting in my 55 and over community.
Okay. Isn't that weird how fast that happens?
Oh, my God. It's like, what's going on?
Right.
So, and I'm like, no. I'm sitting here by myself. I'm looking around. I'm like, this can't be the end for me.
Right.
No. I got so much to say.
You have too much to say.
I want to get it out there. I love to make people laugh. I love to entertain.
That's your personality.
That's just me.
Right.
So I said, okay. I started writing poems like 6 years ago of true life happenings in my life. It was easier to deal with. I went through a lot.
Right.
So it was kind of cathartic for me to get out there.
Therapy.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
So I said, all right, I'm going to take the classes.
We took a class. That's how I met you.
I met you. I went to 2.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of anxiety and suffer from a little depression. So,
okay.
It was giving me anxiety to go because I felt like I had to do it my way. I couldn't change.
So let me sum this up real quick. So you were writing poetry.
Right.
Which made you feel better, and you like to...
Funny, dirty, I can't even say any of it.
Okay, yeah, don't say any of it here. I don't know where the bleep button is. But so you started doing poetry, and then you said classes. We're talking about stand-up comedy classes.
Just the classes that me and you took, that was it.
Right, so it was stand-up comedy classes at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown.
Right, yeah.
We met at a class that John Shrewson was teaching.
Yep, great guy.
Excellent class.
Great.
We had 2 graduation shows.
Right. I did the one.
Yeah. Yep.
I was there 2 times, and I just had to, I was talking to another coach at that point, and he was like, you can't, say, you really shouldn't say, your son or but I felt that that's my truth. I got to tell my truth out there because it comes so natural that if I tried to stay in a little box, it wouldn't work for me.
You can't stay in a little box.
I can't.
Not with your personality and your stories and your comedy is just, you can't. No, you can't.
I can't put it in I need a big box.
Right. So how long have you been doing stand-up then? That's 6 years. 6 years of poetry, you said?
Yeah, just writing poems, reading them to my girlfriends. I thought about doing a book, putting them all together, and it would kind of tell my life story
in poems.
But for adults only. So I was thinking bedtime stories for adults.
Right.
And then, I said, let me try the comedy. I mean,
so from poems to comedy.
Right? It's wild.
It's entertainment. That's what it is. It's all.
I love it. And I float off that stage, believe it or not, looking at me.
You're having more fun up there than we are. Everybody's cracking up. But you can tell you're having a good time. And it feeds off to the audience.
Absolutely. That's what my coach said. He's like, you are such a natural that I don't want to coach you that much. He says, you don't need to be coached. You just need to be fine-tuned and figure out, where our next move is.
So Stephen Marshall.
Steve
Marshall, that's a huge connection for you.
Oh my God, he's amazing. He's wonderful. I go, I meet with him. I try and do two times a month.
Wow.
And, he's just the best.
Yeah.
He really is. And I have such good support system from my family.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Does your family find you funny?
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Hysterical. My sister and my son.
You're lucky.
Yeah, they're my biggest fans, my family.
That's awesome.
They come to every show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
awesome.
much. I think my son missed one show, Nicky.
Okay.
And he's just
Does Nicky like the jokes that you write?
Oh, my God. We did. We have the same kind of, sense of humor. We'll call each other.
Right.
And exactly what you heard about the bikini wax was exactly what happened.
Okay.
So, and we were hysterical laughing on the phone. I mean, we could stay on the phone just laughing for 5 minutes with each other.
So you're hanging around your son, you wind up in a whole new set of the comedy.
So I said, I'm trying to get him to do a podcast with me, Mommy and Me.
That's a great idea.
Steve said, do it, run with it, go.
You have much material to get out of that podcast?
Oh, my God. We can sit back and forth and just banter.
Right.
About our lives and what's going on. And, it's so, I'm trying to get him on board with that.
That's awesome that your family supports everything.
Oh, I'm so lucky. I mean, it's so nice to see them proud of me. And I was always supportive of them, doing sports and whatever.
You were at the baseball fields, and now they're at the comedy clubs. How cool is that?
It's amazing.
Right.
This is the best time of my life right now.
Well, and you deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up your family. You put your time in.
Yep.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah. And they're all doing well and great and successful. And
you should put a comedy night together at your, what'd you say, your sister's senior center? Put a comedy night there.
I know.
Get to know your neighbors.
I don't know. Half of them might not be able to hear or see me. I don't know.
You're probably the youngest one in there.
Yeah.
So as far as family support, my immediate family supports me. My kids, my wife. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But my family, my sisters and stuff like that, last I heard was that I'm an embarrassment.
Oh, my God, really?
I'm embarrassing, yeah.
Oh, my God, you're so funny. You're so great.
No,
I mean, everything about you.
It has nothing to do with that. It's just that they're just not supportive.
Really?
They'll say anything they can not to support me. But you have to... You don't have the problem.
Watch for that, right?
You don't have the problem.
Right.
There's a thing with family where what's he so happy about? He's living in a basement apartment.
Exactly.
They don't like the fact that you're happier than them, and they have more crap than you.
That's scary.
Yes.
That's a scary
concept. It's a competition of happiness.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And you don't need materialistic things to be happy.
No, because I am so happy right now. I mean, I feel like I'm accomplishing something with my life. And, I'm doing it for me, and it just feels...
And people look forward to coming and see you on stage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So are you constantly writing now, or is you just going over material you have already with Steve?
As I go,
something
things
happens.
come up. I'm in minding my own business. I'm in my condo, right?
Yeah.
Truth.
Okay.
I swear. And all of a sudden, now, we had a problem with our plumbing.
Okay.
So my daughter goes to Pace University in Manhattan.
Right.
So she had been home at that time, and she, knew the maintenance guy was coming in. But I didn't know what time. So it turned out that I was getting in the shower. I forgot my robe. I swear, right? I almost died. And I'm coming out of my bedroom to go into the shower with my robe, and there he is standing in my living room. Now I'm naked, nothing on. I'm like, oh my God, he screams louder than I did.
Oh wow! Well, that's probably a joke, right?
Yes. He runs outside. I said, I've never seen anybody run so fast. You would think he was getting chased by the border police. I swear to God, it was.
So you scared him by walking out of the shower naked. That's
and I yelled out the window, "How dare you!" Right? And he's like, "Hey, lady, you blinded me. What are you talking about?" So
So there's comedy in everything. That's a great.
You have to look at the glass, I guess, half full. That's how I've gotten through my life. Tried to always.
Right. Don't let life bring you down.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
because it can.
Well, a lot of comedians. I'm not talking about you personally. A lot of comedians have gone through hell in their lives. And that's why they're comics.
Absolutely.
They were with their childhood or something happened.
They go through depression.
Right.
I mean, there's a fine line between.
Yeah.
It's
That's why, people say, I can act, right? I don't even know I can act. I don't even practice acting, but I was brought up in a family where there was complete chaos sometimes.
Right.
Just complete chaos.
Yeah.
And then you go to church and you have to sit
Yeah.
there and act like everything's normal.
Right.
So that's how I became an actor, because I was in a house full of nuts. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then being forced to go to a birthday party where everything's cheery, like the Brady Bunch.
Right. Like you had to pretend. Right. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, my life was kind of chaotic too. My kids, I don't know how they wound up so perfect.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4 children?
Yeah, I have 3 boys, and then I have my daughter.
And do you talk about all of them on stage, or just?
Mostly my daughter and Nikki.
Okay.
The other 2
You leave them alone a little bit?
Yeah, I kind of leave them alone.
That's funny. Yeah, I used to talk about my kids, but now, I want them to come to my shows with their friends, and I don't want to embarrass them.
Yeah, see, that's what my daughter does. She brings her friends.
That's what's going to wind up happening now, because they're getting older now, where they're able to come to my shows.
Right. Oh, that's great. Right, that's great. Have they ever seen your shows?
No, and I took my daughter, she's 16, I took her to Governor's Comedy Club about 2 weeks ago, and she couldn't believe
they told me you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she couldn't believe that I knew the comic on stage, because he came off stage, and he came over and said hi to us, and she's like, "How do you know him?" I'm like, I do that. I'm like, I go on. She's like, she can't believe she knows, but she didn't know I did stand up like that. So
Right.
I'd love for her to come out one night and see me on stage.
And see you really.
While I can,
Everybody remembers you from, like, in my family that was there.
Okay.
At our graduation, they remember you and your jokes.
Your family was at the graduation show.
Yeah.
That was I gotta tell you, those shows are awesome.
Oh, that was great. That was the beginning of me. That was like...
You had such a great time that show.
They're like, "You've been here twice. How did you get up there?"
One of the things that's funny is when you're on stage, I mean, I've probably said this already before, but you laugh at your jokes, but you're really laughing. You're not laughing.
I can't help myself.
You're actually laughing at your jokes.
I do.
It's a trickle-down effect, because it comes off stage and the audience is laughing.
That's what my coach said. He said, they feel you. They feel your truth, your energy.
Yeah. Everybody's on your side at that point.
Right, exactly. You got them.
What is your favorite joke? Your personal favorite joke?
My personal actually, okay. Some guy came after the show, people filter out.
Right.
Every single I would say 9 out of 10 come up to me. "Oh my God, we love you." Da da da. So I handed my business card.
Handing out your comedy business cards. Who would ever think that, right?
I know, right? I'm crazy. So, I did I went to the doctor.
Okay.
Right. And I was filling out the paperwork. I started telling a joke. But as you go, I add on to my jokes. Like, you know what I mean? If something, I can stretch a joke because there's other things. You can score more than one time with a joke.
With a joke. You
know
can expand it.
Right. So I go to the doctor, and the nurse says to me, "What's your pronoun?" And I'm like, "What the hell's a pronoun?"
Right.
Like, who knows what a pronoun is? So she's like, I'm like, she tells me, like, he, her, she, him. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "But aren't you looking at me?"
Right.
So she says, "I want to say she, her, but the mustache is throwing me off."
Right.
So then I said, after everybody was laughing, I said, wait, there's more to come. I said, and I go into the exam room, and I had 9 and 10 pound babies, truth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the doctor's doing an exam, an internal, and he's like, "Man, those babies really did some damage." So I'm laying there, I'm like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "There's such a thing as a husband stitch that people get after childbirth that just stitches, you up a little, make it a little,
Right.
I'm not saying it.
Sorry, Trevor.
Sorry, Trevor.
Sorry. We'll get into the...
Trevor's going to cry soon.
We are on radio. Okay, so what happened?
So I said, so he's telling me about that. So I sat up and I said, wait a minute. I had 4 C-sections. What are you trying to say to me?
So it made no sense. Right.
I said, you're trying to say I have a huge vagina?
Right.
Oh, can I say that?
I guess. I mean.
So some guy came out of my show the other night, and he stood next to me, and my kids were there, and he's like, I can't even believe it. He's like, he said, that joke about the doctor was unbelievable. He said, I know nothing about comedy. He said, but you had me. He says, you set it up. He says,
nobody saw it coming?
Nobody saw it coming. Exactly.
That's what comedy is.
And he said, you hit it out of the park.
Awesome.
And we laughed, and it was just, it's such an amazing feeling.
Well, they say that comedy is like once you start doing stand-up and you get good feedback like that, it's like it's like skydiving. You want to keep going.
You want to keep doing it, yeah.
You just can't wait to get back on stage.
Right, because people are like, how do you get up there? I'm like, it is such a high. I can't even.
There's nothing else like it, really. I mean,
there's no other feeling.
No, I've done a lot of crazy stuff, and there's no other feeling like being on stage, especially when you're doing
well. Yeah.
So now? Everybody has a worst time. You just told us about one of your best times. Like, what would you consider one of your worst times? Like where I have had times on stage where the hair on the back of my neck is sticking up. Like nobody's getting my jokes, and I'm in the. It's just.
I thank God really haven't had that.
That's
much.
good. That's good.
I tripped on this thing and I almost fell. That was like my biggest fear of doing.
Falling down on stage.
Yeah, I'm like, weebles wobble, but we don't fall down.
So, your best time is obviously probably every time you're on stage, right?
Every time.
You just had a great time at McGuire's Comedy Club.
I tell you, I did a 7:00 show and a 9:00 show at
You did 2 shows.
Broadway.
Nice.
And I felt like because I was, this was like 4 months ago in June. Mm-hmm. I had a residency there for 4 shows.
Okay.
So it was two shows a night, and it was hard. That was like my scariest time. Because I had to tell my jokes, then I had to rest, and then I had to go again.
Right.
And I didn't feel like I got the feedback I really wanted from the second audience.
Right. Well, that happened to me, too.
You too?
That. Yes. The first crowd, for some reason, it was great.
Right.
And then I think, me personally, I think I got overconfident for the second crowd.
Maybe. I didn't even think of that.
I think that's what happened to me. I was like, I probably didn't perform it as well as the first time.
That's exactly what happened.
Right.
Exactly.
So if you do 2 shows in one night, you got to keep that energy going for the second show.
Exactly. But who knows that when you're just, you're new, you're a newbie.
So who is your favorite comedian? Who's your favorite stand-up comic?
Oh my God. I have to say, Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay. I would have to. It's funny you said that because if I had to pick one, that's who I would probably pick.
You too?
No, I loved Steve Martin growing up.
Yeah, me too.
My uncle had Steve Martin's double live album, and it was left at my house, and I listened to it over and over and over and over.
Uh-huh.
And I became a huge fan of Steve Martin, the Jerk, the Man with 2 Brains, Roxanne. So Steve Martin was my original. Eddie Murphy was awesome.
Oh, love Eddie Murphy.
Right. That was the best.
That was the first one that he did?
Yep.
What was that one?
I think it was Raw, wasn't it? Raw.
I don't know if it was Raw.
He was wearing the red suit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
About his aunt falling down the stairs.
Yes.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So Eddie Murphy, definitely Eddie Murphy. And then Rodney Dangerfield. I love Rodney.
Yes.
Right?
He was the best.
Yeah.
He was the best. I know they had a Dangerfields in the city.
They did. I actually performed at Dangerfield. I was lucky enough to perform there twice.
Oh, did you? How'd that go?
It was great. Great crowd, great place, great atmosphere. It was like certain times when you go and perform, it's like you're dreaming.
Yeah, right.
And believe it or not, Governor's in Levittown. I grew up in Levittown, and I used to ride my bicycle in the parking lot in Levittown on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and see the place packed. And I always was wondering what was going on inside. And when I walk on that stage, every time I'm on that stage, it's just a dream.
Right?
It's weird.
It's unbelievable. It's a feeling that.
Yeah. From being out in the parking lot to being on the stage. How often do you perform?
I try and do at least 1 or 2 a month.
1 or 2 a month.
Yeah. So I've probably done about 16 shows in the last year.
Okay.
It's only been not even a year that I started.
Are you serious?
I swear.
It's been a year.
November 20th was my first show. That was our graduation
right.
show.
Okay, so it's not even a year yet.
No.
Wow. And you're doing this, because it's in you, because that's who you are.
Exactly.
You are a comedian.
It just comes naturally.
It comes natural.
It's, I'm like
right.
putting it out there, and the audience receives my energy. I feel that.
You give out great vibes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I try.
Do people at work take you serious, or people, on an everyday basis? Like you go to the grocery store and you stand online. Are you joking around online?
Oh, yeah. I talk to everybody. Okay. I had one guy at CVS peeing in the sand.
CVS?
Yeah.
Catch me at CVS tomorrow. I'm picking up my prescriptions. I'll be in aisle 5.
I was actually working there.
CVS?
In the pharmacy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I used to go in, and they used to look so forward to me and my jokes. They even came to my second show,
right?
First show, whatever.
When I was doing comedy years ago, I at work when I would do stand up at work. I do jokes from I work in a school, so I'd go in classrooms.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, I do new jokes I thought of, and I started to realize I'm forcing these people to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
they loved it. They loved it. It was like, enough already. He's coming. Oh, God, he's coming down the hall,
Yeah.
So, I realized there's a time and a place for comedy.
Yeah.
And that's
yes.
right?
Yes.
Nobody wants to hear stand-up comedy at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Right. But,
I could be on at that time. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I wake up.
The mind of a comic.
I can make a joke while I'm laying in bed. You know what I mean?
That's why I hang out with a lot of comic friends of mine, because we all have the same brain. Like, nobody has the brain of a comedian.
No. We
look at life differently.
Absolutely.
Than other people.
Absolutely.
And other people look at the way we look at life as we're weirdos. Or they're strange, or something's wrong with him, or he didn't get enough love from his parents growing up.
My son says I have a beautiful mind.
Yeah. Yeah, you're thinking differently, and a lot of people, they go, oh, why didn't I think of that? Like when you think of something that's outside the box like that.
Right, yeah.